Hello again, this is Old Man PHP. I create PHP video tutorials for the old guys who want to learn a new skill and compete with the young crowd. This is my third video. I know the first and the second video wasn't that great, but bear with me, it'll get better. Again, this is my third video and I want to discuss functions. I am breaking this function tutorial to two videos because it seems kind of long, you know. So if you remember on video 2, I created a PHP file and called it PHPTest.php, right here, PHPTest.php. That's what this is. And then I told you this is a declaration line. It's not part of the HTML. It just tells the browser, hey, we're going to be using HTML5. I also mentioned that I was going to show you how to create a CRUD or CRUD project, CRUD. At the end of this course, and you will learn how to read, insert, and delete from a database. You will learn how to read a JSON file, and how to create reports and upload a file or files into your web server. This is the stuff that clients ask for all the time. With this project, you can create other projects that requires you to use a database. It's all going to be there. By doing that, you're going to learn a lot. But first, PHP functions are the real power. You don't have to declare types for your parameters. We will discuss type hinting later. That's when it, typing. Remember we talked about it. If you say $ABC, you put a number, you assign a number to it, it already knows that it's going to be numeric and vice versa. That's what that is, type hinting. So anyway, let's continue. The PHP has more than 1,000 built-in functions, maybe even have more. I will discuss more about the built-in functions that PHP provides on another video, because there's so many of it, but I'm going to show you the ones we use a lot more. There's different types of functions like the type parameters, return types, variable scope, anonymous functions, and variadic functions. A function is a block of statement that can be used repeatedly in an application. A function will take parameters, do some calculations, and return the results. It does not execute automatically when a page loads. It executes when you invoke them, meaning that once you type the name that you want, like in other words, I want to go ahead of myself, but if it's kind of went like this function and you call this TT, like that, I know it's stupid, but, and then you say I want you to echo I love PHP, and then you want to close it, right? Because you want to close your this right here. Then you can call it. This is what they mean by invoking, like that. So if you save it, then it'll give it to you. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll take that back. Oh man, I forgot to put the PHP start and end. Because you gotta remember, HTML is nothing but a text file, really. It just gives you everything like text. Anything you put in here will come up like this. And of course, if you have all your HTML elements, it'll make it look pretty and colors and pictures. So if you go like this, there you go. Boom, I love PHP. That's what the function does. So you can make this up to 1,000 lines. Not a good idea, because what you do is you break it down to a whole bunch of functions, and one function can call the other. Well, let me show you in a few seconds, okay? So, so like again, when you hit the refresh button, it doesn't run this unless you had this. But I'm gonna close this out for a second, right? So if you do like this, it gives you nothing because you didn't tell it. It just sits there. Okay, so so remember the parameters are what is declared in a function. So if you put like, I don't know, like a whole something here, oops, here you could put parameters like 3, 4, 5. Those are parameters. And it'll go. You come here and you say A, B, C, D. So 3 will go into the A. Why is it doing that? Well, we'll deal with that in a second. I'm getting ahead of myself, so I can show you what I'm talking about. How about if we just do a good one here? So the arguments is by default passed by value. So when you pass something here, it's passed by value, which means that a function arguments value is changed within the function itself. So if I say, let's make this a, let's say $A, and let's say, let's do add, and you want to pass it on $, sorry guys, $A, man, I can't see for beans. So that means, like I mentioned, passed by value, right? Which means that the function arguments value is changed within, but it does not change outside of the function. So if you did like, let's do the whole breakdown. What the heck? Let's do the old var underscore dump, right? So you can see it better. And we say $A, right? Then you can say $A plus plus equals that. Then you can say I want to, what is going on here? Why is it giving me, did I miss something out here? Oh. Well, let's see if we do, let's do the echo. Let's echo this. Check. Add. 1 equals, and then we'll say, let's put a space here so we can see it better. We're going to concatenate this $A to it, meaning that I want to add it together, connecting them, right? Semicolon, and then that will be good right here. Boom, boom. Let's add. Let's do the $A equals 5. Now we're gonna, should we do another dump right afterwards? Yes, we should. So let's say var underscore dump, and semicolon, and just put $A. Let's see if I get that right. It's $A. There's a lot of space there, but it doesn't matter. This will give me whatever this is. Okay, let's do it. See, I did the var dump, right? Maybe we should put a little space here. How about if we just do a BR right within the quotes? See, when what we did was we invoked it at this right here. Come on. Let's put another space. I just like to put 2 of them, line breaks. There you go. See, when you create the function, it doesn't do anything, right? And within the function, you say, oh, I want the var dump, I want this, I want to take that and add 1 to it, and then of course I want you to echo out some kind of string with the actual results, right? That's what this will do. This will run this. Right now, if you kind of took this side, and I showed you that already, about to give you, it'll be nothing because it's 5. Remember, and the reason why you're getting it here because this is outside of function. This is the outside scope. But since you already made it a 5, that's why you get integer 5 because that's what it is. But now I want to call this guy, which is going to give me that it is a 5. It'll do that again. Plus it'll add 1 and then give me the results. So let's do this. Like this. Boom. And that's what that was before. So right now, you added 5 to A. First you created a function, doesn't do nothing, right? It just sits there in memory. Then you took a variable and you added and assigned it 5 to it. Then you call that function with that value, a variable. That's what's passed by value. Passed by value, passes the by value. Then you add 1 to it, right? Because you took this A, which is what came from here. The dump tells you that it is a 5. Then you add 1 to it, and that made it into a 6, right? But this is within this function, the inner scope. But then the outer scope, though, the original $A is equal to 5. So when you ran that function, that value came in here, it gave you the dump, it added 1 is equal to 6, but you want to see the dump again. So in your mind, you're thinking, well, it should be 6, but it isn't. It is 5 because it's passed by value. You only change things within that function. You only think it's within that function. Isn't that great? Now, if you want to change the outside variable to the results added as a dollar, just have to add a dollar, not a dollar, an ampersand sign. So what we do is we go right here, and let's add an ampersand. I think that's what it's called, right? Ampersand. Right, you do this ampersand thing. Oh man, my eyes. Oh, jeez. Let me see. I was thinking about this. Yeah. Let's do the ampersand. Let me see. Let's see. So right now we're going to see this will say 5, right? Because you're going to call it. It's going to pass in that 5. You're going to say, oh, look. Dumps, it tells you what this is. It's going to add 1 to it. And then instead of giving you the 5, it should give you this as a 6. Because this here is actually reading not from what's inside here, but what's out here. And the reason it does that is because you put that ampersand right in front of it. That's passing it by reference. So let's see if it'll work. Did I save this? No, I did not. So there we go. Boom, see? 6. Remember, the first time we took it without this, it's just say, hey, I want to assign 5 to A. I want you to pass this parameter, this argument to the function argument, which is here. A. This could have been B, and I could have put B. It doesn't matter. I'm just using the same one, same name, but it's different names. If you took that out, of course, remember I showed you, this will show you that it's 5. It will add a 6 to it, so it'll show you that it's 6. And because if you don't have this, of course, it's going to take this dump and it's going to show you what this is, the value by 5. But if you put the ampersand in front, like what you just did, and when it comes back as 6, 6, that's good, they did that, comes back, you know, hey, because remember this Everything you do in HTML or in CSS, or everything is from the first line, the second line comes next, the third command comes next, the fourth command comes next. That's how it is in that order, right? But because, and then you did this, now because you did this, even though this got changed here, which is cool, now it's going to say, hey, we're going to get that results and we're going to put it in here. And that's why you get the var dump number 6. And that is what is called passing it by reference. When you take this out, it's passing it by value. Basically, that's what that is. Now let's continue. So the functions parameter, that is that you pass by value, right? I am assigning the invocation to a variable. This will work like if I did, let me, how about we change some of this stuff? Let's take this out. Should we keep it as add? Yeah, why not? We'll retype this stuff again. Let's see, we'll keep that just in case I might want to do that. Let's say we did like the var dump, right? Let's add another one. Let's do $B, right? Now I want to do the dollar. I want to also var dump out both of them, $B. Then I want to return it, right? So you're going to say return, and I want to return it as a taking those two guys. I'm going to show you in a second. To your $A plus $B, like that. Then we're gonna, let me see, let's do an echo. I don't think we need an echo because we have nothing in front of that, so we'll make that as the first thing. That's okay. So let's do the, let's make this, let's assign this to another, let's say add both. How about that? Add both. And then what you do is you assign the actual function to that variable. Isn't that great? You can actually use function within function, which I'm going to show you in a second, or you can even assign the function's name to a variable, so you can use that name variable and that will become like the function. It's dynamic. It's just fantastic stuff. So if you declare, PHP allows this to happen, right? So what happens is if you go, let's give it 25. See, there's something wrong. Oh yeah, let me take this whole thing. Copy this, put it in here. See, you're going to assign that to this guy, and then you want to echo it. So we're going to say echo. Let's give it a line break. And we're going to run this variable. It will become a function. Let's see, let's put it in here. And this, did I spell that right? Yep, sure did. Okay, let's save it. Boom. See, I did. We did the. Remember how we did the first var dump inside there, because we called this that var dump, right? You're gonna pass the arguments to it, the parameters. These parameters are gonna be passed as arguments here. These arguments will go to this first one, that one, of course, to that one. It's going to be any name, to tell you the truth. It doesn't matter. So we're going to say var dump, and we're dumping it. Look, we're going to say ink is 25, ink is 25. Meaning that these two guys are integers. But you assigned it to a variable. And now you're using that variable. You don't have to do this, see? You don't have to do this. Because it's even though it is a function inside the variable, it's still a variable. So what you do is you say dollar, whatever the name is, which is add both. You assign the function's name to it, right? Sending to numbers, goes in here, does this, it returns this as a plus. Now this add both It's 50. You're gonna say it's gonna say 50. This is the first dump, remember, which is this, and then 50. See, because you added it, you returned the adding. You can say subtract, and it will be 0, but it returns whatever you send here. You can also return a function that will do other things. We'll see that later. But right now, you assigned a function to a variable, and that variable, it's going to give you the results, especially within the function says return this. This is why you got the 50. Here's a function that invokes before it's declared, right? So we're going to say, this is a nice example. Maybe we just do something else. Yeah, let's do something else. Let's just get it out. I don't want, one day I did a function. I was showing somebody, and then I did using a different type of technique, a different example, and I used that same thing. They were confused. They were like, "But how do you do it?" No, that's just different. This is completely different. So now I'm just going to change names and just do different things, because I don't want to, confuse people. So let's say you got a function, right, called check. Let's see, me. I like this. And then you say, I want you to say, look, matter of fact, I want to show you something. If I went like this, see you're invoking a function, it's going to give you an error. Oh, this situation did not. But usually it does. It says, what is this function is not there? What happened? But that's okay. I know why. I'll show you that later. So now I'm going to say function, right? That's the before. So how about you can even invoke, like this is, remember this, what I tell you, this is invoking when you add the name and the parentheses. That means this is a function, you're invoking it. You're telling it, hey, run this. But it goes and it says, well, I don't see nothing, so that's why I got the blank. Right? But if you put the function below it, like this, check me, right? Don't forget the start and the end. What did you call those curly brackets? That means the function, everything that's inside there. So now we're gonna say, I want you to echo check me out, right? It reminds me, I gotta call my mother today. All right, so if you do that, guess what? It's gonna run it. Even though I prefer to create the stuff before we run the function. Before we invoke a function, it should already be out there already. But in this case, PHP allows it. JavaScript does the same thing. That's why I don't like it. Always declare the stuff first, then you can put this over here. But in this case, it'll work. Let's see if I saved it. Yeah, did not save it. Yeah. Boom, check me out. See? Maybe I should say before. Get it? Just to show you that it's before. That this is. Maybe I should just say after, because this is after. This whole thing's after this. See? After, check me out. Right? So that will work. So if I went like this, I'm going to say before, so you know. See, before. Either way, it'll work. You can even put this like way down here with a whole bunch of stuff in there, and if you call it, it'll know. But I prefer this way. Always do the declaration, because it makes sense, like you're declaring and then you're running it. It just makes sense. So that's what that is. Let me see. But like I mentioned again, I prefer to do the declaring beforehand, and then of course invoking it. It just makes sense. It's the best way to do things. You can also add a function within the check me function. Like we could put, maybe we should put this whole thing in a function. Okay, let's say function no check me. Does that make sense? Let's close it up. Remember, this was a function. You gotta always have that start and end tag. All right, let's move this down a little bit so we can see it better. Now you're calling this function, and this function is going to declare another function. What do you think would it be? What will be the results? Nothing. See? Nothing. Because remember, a function is there just for you to declare. You need to invoke that name for it to run. I'm going to take a sip of this water for a second. Excuse me. Always drink water. All right. So if I wanted to declare, so I wanted to run this, I just have to call it, right? So I can say, how do I do this? Let me see. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Echo. I like that to jump. Check me. Wait a minute. I'm typing. Sorry, guys. Let's do check me. This. So if I ran this, it's going to run this. It's going to give me this. See? Check me. See how simple that is? Now, if you want to run this one, maybe we should say, how about if we do no? That way. See? Check me because you told it to check you right here. So to invoke it, right, all we have to do is name the actual function, like right here. Just name it. So another, like if you wanted to invoke this, how about you want me to? I guess we can invoke. Let's invoke it afterwards. How about that? Let's put a no. Let's put it in front of it since I already have that breaker. I don't feel like. Just say this. Copy that. Paste right on it. Now you're invoking it. You're gonna say. You are invoking this guy, the first function, and then you're going to declare another function, then you're going to invoke it inside that inner function. And of course you got this from before. So if you save it, boom. No, check out. See? You can declare a function and you can invoke it within another function. Sorry. That is what this is. Okay, so let's see. Let's continue. Maybe we could do, because I said I was going to break this down to. Let's continue anyway. If it gets too big, then we could break it down to 2 of them. Like I said, I was going to break it down to 2 of them. So now you already know what this works, how that works, right? So let me show you. I wanted to mention. I do wanted to show you something too. Let's see. Check me out. Isn't that weird? Maybe we should have put some. Let's put it over here. Echo. You could have put it inside there too, but you know, of course you wouldn't write it like this. You would be more smart about the presentation. But for training purposes, who cares? It's better looking. You're gonna say, oh, wait a minute, how come it took it? Well, the reason why it took it is because you already invoked the first one. See, you already invoked it. It took this, it declared it, and then it already invoked it for you. That's why I was able to use that, you know, because you did this already. So if you took this out, see? Took out that first one. See, it went to, oh, because you invoked it already here. Ran it, because you already did it. It's got the function, boom, it'll run. Even if you took that out. But if you took this one out, 1, 2, 3, oops, it doesn't matter. I like 3, 4 when it comes to PHP. See, took it all out. Didn't know. It went like this. It said, let me run this, and it says function, but then there's something, but it didn't do this part either. It didn't work because I couldn't get to this, because this ain't running. This is not invoking it. This is not saying, hey, I'm declaring this function. No, it looks at it and says, I don't know what you're talking about. This is why when you're going to declare a function within the function, you need to call that first function. Boom. There you go. And of course you're invoking because you want that second one. And you get that first one. That's real good stuff, man. Really good stuff. So let's go on. Let's continue with this talk about the return statement. You can return a value, or you can even return a function, just like I mentioned. Remember? So what I'll do is, should we keep this here? What the hell? Take it all out. Let's say function, and we're going to call it foo. We're gonna invoke. We're gonna return a. Let's see, because we're gonna be talking about return. No, I showed you return before, but we're gonna talk a little bit more. So let's say return, right? You're gonna return 1, right? And then you're gonna. Let's see, full. Frankenstein is awake. That's because we didn't write an echo to return it, so we're going to leave it like that. So now what happens is you got this, right? So now what I want to do is I want to assign this, right, to this. So what I do is to a variable, just like we saw before earlier. So we're going to say $RET equals to food. I should have just did it over there. Like this, see? You're going to return it, and then it's going to go in here. And of course, you're not going to see anything because I'm not echoing it, right? So, but if you echo it, echo $food, $RET. Let's see if it'll. Boom, number 1. See, you can create, you can return anything you want. You already saw it already when we did the $A plus $B. Remember, we returned that same idea. Okay, and then if you do the var dump, I'll show you, which is a good idea to do. Oops, what happened here? The var dump gives you a breakdown, describes, gives you the meta, tells you that it's a number or string if you're using strings. Boom, integer 1. Good stuff, right? Now there's a technique that we talked about it briefly, right? The types when things are happening, type hinting. It explicitly states a type of declaration allowing you to enforce a specific type, like integer or a string. And if you want to keep the type hinting and return a null, remember null? I don't know if you ever heard of it. I don't know if you come from another language. Null means that no means like there's no value, but it's something in there. There's no value. I'm gonna say, I always say that it's like there's error. There's error in no. So when you assign that, let me do this. When you assign that to a variable and you print it out, it's gonna print out nothing, but it'll tell you that there's something there. Let me show you. So if we have the, I'm not confuse myself here. Let's say you got this, right? And you want to explicitly say, hey, remember I told you that C does that, you have to tell it that the variable is going to be an integer. But you can do the same thing with this one. You don't have to, but you can explicitly say, hey, I want this $ABC to be a string. I want this $ABC to be an integer. And the way to do that is, should I take all this crap out of here? Yeah, let's do this so we don't get confused. Right, you're going to return a 1. You already know it's an integer because we already did the var dump. But if you put this here, what is it? It's called the colon. And then you say integer. You're telling it, hey, whatever's going to come through here, it's going to be an integer. So if you kind of did like this, $ret3, and that would be foo3, boom, boom. Let's semicolon. I want to do the old var dump because I want to see. And I want to make this into $ret3. Is that what I called it? Yes, I did. Right? Then you save it. Boom, integer. You know, if this thing would have been like this, it'd probably be like, oh, I'm not getting ahead of myself. Don't worry, you're gonna get to it. Let's take our time. Let's just do this real quick. I want to confuse people, even though I'm pretty good at it, not confusing people. So you know that you can do the type hint, right? The parameter to explicitly tell the function that the parameter within are integers, right? So the function is, so what I'm going to create is a function that explicitly making your parameter as an integer, so you can also do it. So this already knows what it's going to be doing it. So let's change this to, let's go back to, remember that $A plus $B. And then over here, we're going to put in, even though you can do it like this, you can also do it. Let's take this out so we can show you what I'm talking about. We can do it like this too. We could say within each one, like in other words, I could say integer space, and you're going to say $A, right? Comma, then you're going to say integer $B. So right now, you're telling, the reason why it's great, I prefer this way. The other way is good, but this way is good because what happens if the third one is a string, right? And you want to break it down and keep things, I know it might be like an extra typing, but it shouldn't be too bad. I mean, the computers are fast, so let's say, oh, excuse me, guys. So let's say we want to echo out that function, right? So let's say echo add. See, you could even do this, which I think I showed you that already. Let's say 5, 10, right? Let's do a little space here. Save it. Why did, oh, what happened here? Did I misspell this? Wait a minute, function, oh. What did you say, add? I mean, we are adding. There you go. Sorry, guys. Boom, 15. See? It explicitly tell you that it's, hey, that is a function. You can even add pipe. This is pipe symbol. It's like a, let me see. Pipe symbol is these things. This is the stuff that's above above this key, the backslash. Right above it, you got this thing that looks like a pipe, kind of like this, pipe. So you can use the pipe symbol. But because I'm only, I don't know why, I'm using name hero, and they're still under version 7 on PHP. The using of the pipe here, that will be version 8. It will be something like this, which I don't know. Maybe let's see if we can do this. I mean, it's not gonna work. Well, let's say I should have checked last, but the last time I checked, yeah, we could say this is the pipe. This is it means that or, right? So you say this, and then you could say float. Let's say if it's a float, and put a space there. You can do the same thing here. Int float, like this. So what this is telling you, oh, see, I knew that wasn't gonna work. I don't understand why. For a company that's why it wouldn't work. I don't understand this. Because you know why? Look, it says it right here. This Express doesn't like it because we're using version 7. Anyway, if it was version 8, it would tell you if you add in like I don't know, echo add 2020 like that. It's an error that's not gonna work. Well, let's see. You never know. Nope. See? Because it looked at this, is because first of all you got that error, it's gonna help. And then look at that, it's gonna be like, oh, I don't know what that is. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't know. If it would have been like a floating, like this, the same way it would have worked. But won't do it. Because this is version 8. I just thought I showed you anyway. Just for 1 second I kind of forgot to figure by now that they would have that set up. I mean, we can check, really. Let's take these floats out because I really don't like them. But they would have been great though, because if you wanted to add like a number, a regular integer, whole integer, and then the decimal integer, that would have been great. That would have been great. Let me see if this will work. I wonder if it'll break it down. It gave me 40. That's great. You know why? It dropped the 5, the 0.5. It's an integer. It dropped the 0.5. This is 2020. That's what that is. Equals to 40. You can check. Let me see if I check. Let's see. I should have done this before. Let's do the P. This is something that you could do. This is all PHP stuff, meta stuff. But I can show you now. If you did this. There we go. See what I tell you. 7.4. If it would have been 8, that pipe would have worked. It would have worked fine. You can also add an assign, you know, those little assign statement. I'm going to take this out because I really don't want to. We're gonna talk about that PHP info much later. But figured I showed you right now. Let me see. So I got the assign statement. This is the assign. Remember the assign? This is the assign. This is the assign statement. You know, right? So you go say $a assign 8, 7 like that. You're assigning 7 to this. That's the assign statement. So basically, not a statement, I'm sorry, it's the operator, the assign operator, the equal sign operator. And this to give you a parameter, a default value. So in other words, let's take this out since we already know it's going to be 40. Let's say you did this, right? And you wanted to assign, let me see. Let's take this out. All right. Let's see. We're going to return that and that. That's good. Let me see. 40. All right. So I want to assign something to this, but what happens if I don't have? So it will be like this. Look. Boom. It'll give me nothing because it can't add. It's such a weird thing, right? You would think that it was just, if it's a space, add a space to it, and I guess it became space. So weird. It's just so weird. Anyway, the point is that you can assign a default value. So if you, for some reason, like right here, you can assign, let's do 30, like that. See, now if I said 20, it's going to say, oh, I don't have anything in B, but there is a value there that was assigned as a default. So there you go. Boom, 50. Because 30 plus 20 equals 50. Isn't that fantastic? You can use strict mode too by default. You just have to put that like on the top of your script, all the way at the top. Yeah, it's called strict mode. We're going to be showing you that in a few. So the strict mode, by declaring it on top of that, will tell it, hey, this whole script, please stay within the confines of strict. Be strict about it. Don't be too loose. Okay? Don't be too loose. I'm going to show you that in a little bit because I can assign A plus B, and then A could be 5 and B could be 7. Let's put 10, and you put them in quotes, but it's no longer integer, right? It's numeric, like something like this. Right? That's a numeric. If you do this, what did I use? 2. It doesn't matter, any number. Then let's put 5. And if you add those two together, it's going to say, I'm sorry, if you want to compare them, it's going to say, no, it can't be. Because it's going to look at this, but if you do the strict mode, it's going to tell you, give you an error, that there's a problem here. In regular situation, when you say if A is equal to, let's put a 2 here. Like if you say something like that, I'm going ahead of myself, but I'm going to show you, is $A equals to B, what is it, $B? If it is, do something else, and if it ain't, do something else. But if you do strict mode, it's going to say, wait a minute, it doesn't work. You know, you can also use this. That will give you the strict. Strict is just going to give you an error. But if you do this, it's going to say, hey, 2 is equal to 2. It'll forget about these quotes. Because those two, they look the same, except that one of them has quotes. But if you put that extra equal sign, it's going to say, oh, there's an error there. I'm going to show you that in a bit. All right, so let's see how we do the strict, how do we declare. So I guess we could kind of, maybe we should put it on top of here. Let me see. We could say, let's see, something like this. Let's see. Let me see, it could be doing here, the strict mode, so we could put how is it? Declare this semicolon. Wait a minute. You need the PHP. Like that. I want to declare. What did I call this? Why is there a strict types? Wait a minute. Why is this thing underneath the thing? We could declare that later. We don't need that here. Matter of fact, let's check all this out. That's going to be something else. We're going to say strict types equals 1, like that. Did I spell that right? No, you need this. You know something, guys? Now I'm confusing my own self. Let me see. Hey, there you go. Why didn't it spell that right? I don't understand that. It's just so freaking weird sometimes. I don't know. Anyway, this is how you do it. Declare. You put it in parentheses. I guess you needed to have all this information in there before it started to give me this little stupid indicator that there's an error there. But look, it's saying that you're declaring this as a 1. So then when you declare, this will make your script into script. So put it on the top, right? So I'm going to put this here. What should we call this? We should say A plus. Let's take this out, because we already know the story. I already showed you how that works, right? So let's return A plus B, right? Let's see what that looks like. Should we? Let's take all this out. Let's leave this one on like this. So if I said return that one, let's see what we got here. We say return 20, comma, stupid 10. And we'll give it to you. Why didn't it work? Integer. Did I spell that right? Integer A. I want you to return A and B. And if you echo it, that is the most strangest thing. It returns it but it is A and B, so it should be no problem. Let's see something real quick. 1, 2, 3. I have to put 3 of them. There you go. So let's do $ADD both equals to add. That's just sort of the strangest thing. Let's do 25, 25, so I don't get myself confused, or mind me confused. And then we want to echo this guy, so let's echo this guy. This is just such a most strangest thing. That's something is definitely wrong with this. All right, so let's do this. Boom. That is the most strangest thing. So, oh, anyways, declaring it. So now, I'm going to have to, let's do with the var. Oh, no, you got to do the var dump so you can see it. Yeah. Duh. Of course you're not going to see it. Let's do this. What's going on here? Is it even saving it? You trying to tell me that this is actually stop? Let me see something. 1, 2, 3. Into declaring this as a better situation. Yeah, 50-50, that's good. So if you say that you want to strict code 0, that means you want to stricting it. But if you put a 0, excuse me. That beats me, man. So I know it enables a PHP to it enables PHP to throw in an error and do a halt on the execution. That's what happened. Huh. Okay. So remember, strict mode is used to enforce type hinting for Scala types. And that's what that is. You know, $a equals to 1 Scala type. This can be enabled by using, let's see. Well, guys, I'm stumped. Why wouldn't that work? You know something? I'll have to get back to you guys. You know, when the time comes, we're going to see there's something missing here. And I don't want to waste my time dealing with this. For now, I want to come right back to it. We'll do that on the part 2 of the video. And I'm sorry that confused you, because it confused me there for a second too. But I'll find out more about it. I thought I knew. Well, that's just to let you know that I hardly ever use that because I do everything perfectly right. That's kind of how I program. But hey, if you did enjoy this, please give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. It's going to help me with my channel. You know, I'm new at it, so I'm going to show you. I'm going to come back to you. We're going to answer that question. Why isn't the strict type doing it? Spotty is doing what it's supposed to, but I would think that it would give me something. And I guess it doesn't. It halts programming. But it shouldn't be halting. I guess it does the whole thing. I'm going to find out. I'm going to look it up and it'll show you what the story is. Anyway, until next time, thank you. Good night.